first thing, I'd like to talk a little bit about the difference between bots and trolls and other kinds of media manipulation, because we're starting to use those terms all to mean the same thing and completely different things, even in the same conversation. That's a little problematic. So when I'm talking about bots, I'm talking about automated social media accounts or other kinds of accounts that you could find in other places on the internet. Somebody has created an account by using a piece of code. They've written a program, and they have found a way to make that account automatically post or like or retweet or follow or friend or whatever it is appropriate for the particular platform we're talking about. And these bots, being created by a person, are then kind of let loose given a set of rules that their creator has made them follow. Right now, most of our bots are dumb bots. They follow rules very specifically. There are experiments going on to create smarter bots, which use artificial intelligence to try and make those bots that can learn and create new rules for themselves as they interact in the world. But for the most part, we're dealing with pretty dumb bots right now. Then we have trolls. Trolls are actual humans who are typing out those messages, who are clicking follow or favorite or like or whatever button is appropriate. We think of them as actual humans who maybe are not necessarily contributing to public discourse the way we would ideally see in a nice participatory democracy utopia, but they're still actual humans who, if they are Canadian in a Canadian context, have a legitimate right to participate in their democracy and share their political opinions and their political ideas, even if they are unsavory, provided it's not hate speech or some other form of speech that we have decided is not okay. It's also not okay to tell people to go to the wrong polling station or to tell them their vote's not worth it, they shouldn't bother voting. That's voter suppression. We have laws against it. Then we have activism campaigns. And these campaigns could be run by political parties or candidates. They could be run by third parties. And so third parties in Canada in the election context are basically political actors, organizations that aren't registered political parties, but are still pushing some sort of political message, right? And so these groups can try and mobilize citizens, and they can do that in a genuine, organic way. We often talk about grassroots activism, and so you can imagine something like a mail merge campaign where you are trying to get your candidate to really support your view on the pipelines, and so you create a mail merge campaign where you get people to click and say, yep, I agree with this, and then all of a sudden a bunch of emails go to that candidate. We can also see that happen on Twitter or on Facebook or on instant messaging apps where a bit of technology is used to automate that process. And then we have astroturfing, which is when we try and create the image of a nice grassroots, green grass kind of campaign that's actually just been fabricated by some political staffers or a core group of volunteers who are maybe creating 5 or 7 accounts each on Twitter to send out messages to make it look like there's a ton of support for their candidate or a ton of people who really hate their opponent. And that kind of tactic also can start modifying the version of public opinion that the media gets to report, the version of public opinion that our fellow citizens see. So in each of these contexts, bots, trolls, grassroots activism campaigns, and astroturfing, the goal is to make it seem like some idea or some person is really popular and wonderful, or that their opponent is really horrible and the worst and shouldn't be voted for.